Today is the review day. So let's start by taking questions. If anybody has any specific homework question stuff. It's worksheet 1. I shouldn't have had worksheet 2 in there. I've since pulled it out. Will. I have not got all of them taken. When I have them taken, I can give them back to you. But there's some people that were absent. You might guess who. Huh? Joey. Goodness gracious.
Do number 47 on 2.2.4?
Sure, the 47 from the homework. Okay. All right. It says if an angle falls within the given interval, determine whether sine theta, cosine theta, or tan theta will be positive or negative. Okay? So if I do this, 90 degrees is there, 180 is there. So we're talking about something in the second quadrant, right? In the second quadrant, the x-coordinate is negative, but the y-coordinate is positive, right? So I know sine theta, with our unit circle definition, is y. So as a result, we know the y's are positive. So sine theta should be positive, right? Because we said y is positive in the second quadrant. Cosine theta is x, which I know is negative in the second quadrant. And tan theta is y over x, so that's positive over negative, so that's negative. So that's what I'd write.
So when you say sine theta equals y, are you looking what? So then you gave us a couple all the sine.
Yep. So I'm just looking at if it's in the second quadrant. Thank you. You know, the y's are all positive there. It doesn't matter which angle in there. Hunter, for you. You want to come grab it? It doesn't matter which y you're looking at. All the y's in that quadrant are positive. So I'm not going to find a number here.
Okay.
There's not going to be a number. I'm just deciding positive or negative. And I'm doing that purely on the basis of, in that quadrant, are the x's positive or negative, or the y's positive or negative. That's it.
Okay.
Is that okay? Yeah. So since, you know, the y's are positive, we know sine is positive. Since the y's are negative, or the x's are negative, we know cosine's negative. And since positive over negative is negative, we know tangent is negative. Does that feel okay?
Yeah.
Nicholas.
Can you do any on the second page of the worksheet?
Sure. Absolutely. Grab that. Drop that page in. So where I thought it was going to go. There we go. All right. So it says find cosine theta if sine theta is 1/4 and tangent theta is negative. So I'm going to start by drawing a picture. And I know that sine is y. Oops. And we know that 1/4 is positive, so the y has to be positive. So I know that I'm looking either quadrants 1 or 2. We're told tan theta, which I know is y over x, is negative. If y is positive, that tells me that x has to be the negative part. So I'm looking then at quadrants 3 and 4. What quadrant does theta actually have to lie in then? Quadrant 3. Great. Everybody's cool? So I'm now going to discard like that unit circle definition. So I know y is 1, r is 4, and I'm going to find x. So I know x squared plus y squared is equal to r squared. So x squared is equal to 15. So x is plus or minus 15, or square root 15. And now, because I know that we're in quadrant 3, that x needs to be negative. Okay with that? Now I have everything I need, because I know that cosine theta is x over r. So that's negative root 15 over 4. Should we do another?
Yeah.
Okay. Any preference?
I should do 13.
Do 13. Great. So again, I'm going to start the same way. I'm going to just draw myself a little picture. I know that cotangent theta is x over y, and I know that's negative. So I know either x is negative or y is negative, but I don't know which one, right? So let's look at what else we know. We know sine theta, which is y, is negative. So we know since sine theta is negative, we know that, or y is negative, we know that it's in either quadrant 3 or 4. And then if y has to be negative, x would have to be positive, right? For this to be true. So that means we're in either quadrants 1 or 4. So theta lies in, has to be Q4. So far, so good?
Wait, how did you get how did you determine the second?
The yellow?
Yeah, the yellow.
Well, if I look at cotangent theta, that's x over y. I know y is negative, so x over y can only be negative if x is positive, right? X is positive in quadrants 1 and 4.
How do you know the y is negative?
Because sine theta is y, and we're told sine theta is negative. Is that okay?
Yeah.
So, what do we know now? We know x is positive 4, y is negative 3. We just need to find out what r is to be able to write cosecant. So I know that x squared plus y squared is r squared. And since r is a distance, I know that that result always is going to be a positive. X and y are coordinates. Those can be positive or negative. So I have to be careful about the plus or minus. R is a distance, always going to be positive. So we have everything we need now. We have x, y, and r. So we should be able to write any ratio we want. I remember that cosecant is r over y. So that's 5 over negative 3. Just seeing it twice is often quite helpful, right? What's up? Yes, because r is representing a distance. Yeah, r is the distance from the point to the origin, right? That's always a distance. It's always going to be positive. X and y are coordinates. Coordinates can be positive or negative. The distance, though, always a positive.
I know.
Joey.
So you found out that negative 3, that 3 was negative because of the sine theta equals y is less than 0?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So that part told me then that the y coordinate is negative. So the x over y, the negative sign belongs with the y,
Okay.
not the x. Do you guys feel okay on this? This is something I would for sure ask you to do on the test. You should be able to do problems like this. So again, the basic gist of it is we start by just looking at the signs of the two things we know about to figure out what quadrant we're in. We use that quadrant then to find either x, r, or y, depending on which one you're missing. And the quadrant will tell us whether the x or y should be positive or negative that we found. That's the gist of it. And we just plug back into our formulas. Okie dokes. Okay. So today's the review day. I want to talk a little bit about the test 2 format, the kinds of things you should expect to be able to do. So test 2 is 14 questions. The last page of the review has a list of the things that you'll be given to on the test. If you look at the last page of the review, it's the unit circle. I'll give you a unit circle for the test. You don't need to write one on your equation sheet. In fact, every test you'll get a unit circle in this class. You should be able to convert degrees to radians and be able to write your answer in terms of pi. So like 45 degrees to radians becomes pi over 4 rather than, the decimal, whatever that is, 0.9 something or whatever. You should be able to convert from degrees or radians to degrees. Should be able to solve for either the arc length, the radius, or the central angle if you're given 2 of the 3. You should be able to use SOHCAHTOA to write the 6 trig ratios given a right triangle. If you're given 1 trig ratio, you should be able to use SOHCAHTOA to write the other 5 ratios. If you're given a point on the terminal side of a standard position angle, you should be able to write the 6 trig ratios from that. So you need the y over r, x over r definitions. If you're given 1 trig ratio and the sign of a second trig ratio, you should be able to write any of the other 5. That's like page 2 of the worksheet 2 that Nick was just asking about. And then you should be able to use the unit circle to find the exact values of a trig function. That's like page 1 of the worksheet that Nick was just asking about. That's it. That's the gist of it. Any questions about what these things are saying that you need to be able to do? Okay. For the rest of the class, you can work on the review or your half sheet. I recommend your half sheet. Ideally, you would turn that in to me today. Worst case scenario, you can bring it by tomorrow morning, but I need it by 3rd hour or I will not let you use it. You must give it to me before 3rd hour, which is when the first trig tests get handed out. I have to have it in my hand or I will not let you use it. Some of us didn't listen quite carefully enough last time when we talked about this, and we're like, nuts. So ideally, you give that to me today. You have like an hour to get the thing made. Should be able to handle that. But if you need till tomorrow, make sure you get it to me before third hour tomorrow in the morning or during CT or whatever. But I got to get it before third hour. It's no bueno for you. Everybody cool? Any other questions for me? Okay. If anything comes up while you're working, feel free to come up and ask. Otherwise, I'm just going to be sitting up here doing my stuff. You sit down there, do your stuff. We'll all be happy.